morning, everyone. Today we have the 2021 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat, the first Hellcat branded SUV, not the first Hellcat engine SUV. That would be the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. But first we are going to start with our questions from Instagram. That's if you want to follow me there, at MilesPerHr, and YouTube's community page. We get to those first. If you want to follow me other places, I'm on TikTok as well, putting out a bunch of videos there. So Christina is, as usual, manning the camera. One of her last and final times.
Hello.
Before baby comes. So, Christina, what are our first questions? And thank you everyone who's tuning in live. And we will definitely get to your questions. We just got to get through these ones that we had first.
All right, what do you see Dodge becoming under PSA ownership in a month, from Blake?
Great question, Blake. So if you didn't know, PSA, Peugeot Skoda Automotive, purchased, well, they say it's a merger of equals, but from an accounting standpoint, PSA purchased FCA, FCA being the parent company of Dodge, Jeep, Ram, why am I forgetting them? Chrysler, all those under FCA, Fiat Chrysler Automotive. So PSA technically took them over. But Blake asked, what is going to happen to Dodge under the PSA ownership, or just majority shareholder ownership of FCA? I don't think anything's going to happen, Blake. It's a good question. I think because Dodge has found its groove in the BA American brand stage, they are able to milk the resources that they have to ways that other automakers could only dream. Dodge takes vehicles that have sat under a decades old platform, and they just continue to make refreshed models under the same architecture with the same performance features that they kind of just spread around to different models. So it's a dream from an accounting standpoint what Dodge is able to do, and yet no one seems to mind because they keep coming out with really awesome vehicles with the same little resources that they've always had. So I think that's a great question. I would not worry. I think Dodge is going to be fine. They're going to keep making Hellcats. They're going to keep making their muscle vehicles, and they're just going to be updated once every 12 years. So good question, Blake. What's the next one?
All right, can you get double-digit fuel economy in real-world city driving, from Blake?
Okay, double-digit fuel economy. So if you don't know, the EPA estimates for the Durango Hellcat are terrible. 11 city, 17 highway, 13 combined MPG. 13 combined in a 2021 model year vehicle. It does have 710 horsepower, so you understand how that happened. But that's the EPA estimate. What are you actually seeing in the city? Blake asked specifically if you can get into double digits. No, not a chance. I've tried. I've had times in this Durango SRT Hellcat where I've had it for now a week, and I've desperately tried to get to 11 miles per gallon, their estimate for in the city, and I just can't do it. So I don't think it's possible. You are going to spend a boatload of cash on gas if you get the Durango Hellcat. What is our next question? I think this is the third one from Blake and final one from Blake.
How would you spend your $80K in this segment?
Yeah, so if I had $80,000, the Durango SRT Hellcat starts at $82,000.
That's from Paul.
Oh, okay. This one's from Paul. How would I spend that money? Would I get the Durango SRT Hellcat? Would I get something else? This is the only vehicle for less than $100,000 that does anything close to the performance figures that it offers. Is it something I would spend my money on? It's difficult to say because this is going to be a rare vehicle. They're only going to make it for 1 year, at least until they make some other version of the Durango Hellcat. And again, it's the only thing that has 3 rows that does these kind of speeds, 180 miles an hour, accelerates to 60 as quick as it does, looks the way it does, which is mostly good. I think the profile looks a bit like a minivan. Yeah, if I had $80,000, and I needed something in this segment, and I still wanted to just have a great time, this is it. There's nothing like this. If I was thinking, you know what, I'll save the money for have a dedicated performance vehicle and a family SUV, I'd go buy the Kia Telluride. No questions asked. Fully loaded, $46,000. That thing is amazing. I'd go buy the Telluride, which I'm gonna get in a week, I think, 2 weeks. And then I would just go get a performance car. With my leftover $40,000, I'd go buy like a used Porsche Cayman. That would be me.
All right. What about the Trackhawk compared to this?
Trackhawk?
Yeah.
Is that a personal question, Christina?
No, a lot of people are asking it,
Well,
but I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it's a great question, and people are like, well, what's the difference between the Trackhawk and this? On paper, Trackhawk doesn't have a third row of seats. I mean, in reality, it doesn't have a third row of seats, but I'm just talking about specs here. It doesn't have a third row of seats. It is not a Hellcat branded vehicle. Again, this is the first Hellcat branded. When you see this badge, it counts for something. The fact that this has a Hellcat badge on it, people recognize that, and they sort of quake in their boots a bit because this badge...
Shake.
Quake and shake. Shake or quake? Shake and
I'm
bake.
saying do it.
Oh, you want me to quake in my boots?
Shake.
I'm not wearing boots.
I am.
I can't quake. Okay, Christina's quaking in her boots. Okay, just want you to know. Yeah, so this badge counts for something. It's a symbol of awesomeness. So the fact that the Trackhawk doesn't have that badge does count for something. The Trackhawk's going to be a little, no, it's about the same price to start. It's like $86,000 to start. This is $82,000. So they're priced very similarly. Similar performance, 710, 707 with the Trackhawk. 0 to 60 times are very close. This is like a tenth of a second slower. Yeah, I mean, if you need the third row of seats, this is your only option. Ironically, you can also substitute out the third row of seats as a no-cost option like you can in all other Dodge Hellcat vehicles. You can sub out the, well, no other Hellcat vehicle has a third row of seats, but you can sub out the rear seats in all those vehicles. You can take out the third row seats for no extra cost, and then you have a Trackhawk, confusingly, but without that badge. So that's the difference, guys. 0 to 60s are like 3.4 for the Trackhawk, 3.5 for this. Again, that's on paper. That's what is being quoted by Jeep and Dodge, respectively. 180 miles an hour for this. I think it's 180 as well for the Trackhawk. Correct me if I'm wrong. So we still have some questions from Instagram, though.
Yep.
Instagram.
Do you think they'll ever make a Durango Demon from Lucas?
Lucas, it's a good question. I don't think they'll make a Demon. I do think they'll make another version of this formula because if we've learned anything from Dodge, as I already said before, they know how to milk it. So people are gonna they'll sell every one of these, they just will, because the price is right for the performance that you're getting and the exclusivity of it only being around for 1 year. And then they'll go, oh, well, here's another one. So it won't be exactly this. Maybe it'll be a wide body version of this, a red eye version of this. I don't think they're gonna go Demon on this one. Demon still seems to be a very special thing that they did for the Challenger. Even though they're, the super stock is very close to the Demon, it's not that badge, it's not that name. I don't think they'll make a Demon Durango, but it's a fair question. It's definitely a fair question. I do think they'll make a different version of this one, even more aggressive in one way or another.
Okay.
All right, next question.
Is it supercharged from Oscar?
100% supercharged, yes. 2.4 liter supercharged. Supercharged. Let's go.
I thought you were starting it up.
Oh no, I'm gonna show it, and then I'll start it up and rev it, because I know that's what people want to see. Start it up, rev it. Open it. How about that? Start with that. Okay. There it is. 2.4 liter supercharger on a 6.2 liter HEMI V8 engine, making 710 horsepower. Yes, I'm getting into questions. I know other people asked about the power. 710 horsepower, 645 pound-feet of torque. It makes a wonderful noise. We'll get to that when we start driving it. 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds. Other people have seen faster. Top speed, 180 miles an hour. And fuel economy, again, is atrocious. But yeah, it's a beautiful engine bay. In the world of black plastic covers over engine bays, this is just a breath of fresh air. Is it not, Christina? Take a breath of fresh air, Christina, while you look at this engine, please. There you go.
I'm gonna say I don't know much about engines after all this time.
After all this time, yes, but you can appreciate a pretty looking engine bay, right?
Yeah, it is pretty.
It is pretty.
Less plastic, you're right.
Yeah, okay. All right, guys, let's start it up, shall we?
Oh, you already said this, I think. What is the MPG you can get if you drive it in eco as much as possible?
Yeah, so that was more specific. Who asked that question? I want to give you credit.
You didn't put anyone.
Okay, my mistake. I think their username was a little risque and didn't want to say that. The Yeah, I've driven it exclusively in eco mode, attempting to get the best fuel economy I can get, and I think average I got like 14. So yeah, like slightly better than the EPA estimate. But I mean, I'm talking like this was a spat of like 50 miles on average, and I was breathing on that throttle. Not even like full on, just breathing on it, and I got 14. So
Breathing. Can you show us how you breathe on the throttle?
just you got to get down close, and you just gotta, just
Oh.
very light breath, not like an
Wow.
old wheezing, just like a very light.
I've never heard of that expression.
Okay, I'm gonna start it up. Okay,
Okay.
cutting you off. Mighty meaty. Did you guys hear some of the supercharger whine? Maybe not, because you might need to be up here to hear the supercharger whine. That would make sense. You'll need to hear HEMI V8 from back there, but
Go ahead.
just go close up to near the heat extractors up here, and you'll hear some supercharger when I rev it. You'll also hear when I drive it. Sounds good, right? Doesn't sound like a family SUV. All right, next question, Christina.
What is the horsepower? I'm a new fan from the Philippines, from Boaz Yael, but you already said the horsepower.
Well, as Yael, thank you for becoming a MilesPerHr subscriber and fan. Horsepower already said 710 though, 645 pound-feet of torque. 710. Grasp that for a second. In a vehicle that looks like this. It's wild. Go Dodge. Only Dodge could pull that off.
Okay, are you able to go with different wheel options? I think you need to turn it off because people can't hear when.
Yeah. Okay. That is also a great question. Who asked that?
From Jay.
Jay asked if you can go with different wheel options. It's an excellent question because I don't love these wheels. Okay, and to answer that question, I will say no. The only thing you can do is you can get these in all black. So right now you see we've got this machined alloy finish on the outside, black on the inside. The only thing you can change up is to make them all black, which I don't know if that'll be better. I honestly don't know if it'll be better. I don't like the design of these wheels. I think they could have done more and better, and maybe it's the fact that you've got a lot of sidewall, which is not a huge deal. It helps the ride comfort significantly, but 20s somehow just seems small on a vehicle of this size. So there's the wheel size, but also the design just doesn't blow me away. I like the designs of the Scat Pack and the Hellcat wheels. Those look cool. These just wah. But no, unfortunately you cannot.
Okay.
Next question.
What is the price from Sock This and Brian?
Okay, so price, mentioned it first, $82,000 to start, just a touch over. As tested, this one has two packages. It has the premium group package, and it has the blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic. It's $86,000 as tested. Very lightly equipped as tested. And I think, honestly, that's all the options you need. I will have a full review of this, so I don't want to go too in-depth on my impressions, but I will have a full review coming out not this Monday, but next Monday. So look forward to that.
All right. You've already mentioned this horsepower and torque
Yep,
from
got that.
Brian, okay? Is this the most fun SUV to drive this year from Tom Brady?
It's a great question, Tom. Most fun, so let's see, trying to think. I had this amount of fun with the Trackhawk, but I drove that in 2019. I've had fun in other SUVs this year. Have I had this much fun? I'm gonna say no. In terms of sheer excitement, Tom Brady, the Durango SRT Hellcat is it. This is the most fun. In terms of like driving precision and shock factor, there have been other SUVs, but this is just like the whole experience of that supercharger whine, the HEMI V8 noise, the absolute thrust off the line, mid-range power. it's just great, and it can really handle exceptionally well in corners. I'll go into that more in the review, but yeah, this is the most exciting SUV of 2020 for me.
It's a bold statement.
Bold statement. There are a lot of SUVs on the market.
All right, I'm getting into YouTube. Hi, J Mighty. Hi, FM.
Hey, guys.
All right.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Rena. Okay. Thanks, Captain Bear. Hi, Kathinja. Okay. Oh. Please, Miles, try to do the new Land Rover Discovery 2021 on and off-road.
Okay, yeah. Just Land Rover vehicles, guys. It's very difficult to get them right now because they're not stocking their press fleet, so like they don't really have any other models. They have the Velar, which I've done extensively, and they're getting new 2021 models. So I'll get the 2021s as soon as they're in the press fleet, but they're not there yet. Patience, but I'll try. Same thing with Jaguar. Jaguar, Land Rover, same company, same deal.
All right, you already answered this, Captain Bear, so you can skip it if you did. Would you prefer this would you prefer this or the Jeep Trackhawk?
Yeah, so we balanced the two of them. I shared what was different about them. Which would I prefer? That's a tough question. I think I'm gonna go with this. I just want that Hellcat badge. And they're only making it for 1 year. So I would go with this, personally. And 3 rows of seats.
This or Jeep SRT from Carsology?
Well, so it would really be the Durango SRT versus the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT. Those are one step down. They don't have the supercharger on those. Which would I choose, the SRT version of this or the Jeep? I'd probably go with the Jeep, to be honest, because if you're not doing it for the Hellcat badge and the exclusivity, the Jeep, I just like the way it looks better.
All right.
Christina just managed to take off her jacket while holding a cup of coffee in one arm, her phone in the other hand, and the gimbal. Just by the way, I just watched it. It was impressive.
I
asked the questions.
My coffee, and he said I couldn't drink it during it, but I said yes, I can.
Yeah, I did question whether she was going to be able to do that. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Guys.
I didn't even shake the camera a lot. Okay. So, hello to Blake. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, guys. I'm Blake, who asked a bunch of good questions. He asks a bunch of good questions every video. Appreciate you.
Let me get to the next one. How do you feel about the styling in comparison with the Trackhawk from Joe Black?
From whom?
Joe Black.
Joe Black. Joe Black answered that just a little bit. I prefer the styling of the Trackhawk. I think that if you don't have to have that 3rd row of seats, if you don't need the extra utility, having a shrunken form is better. I think the profile of the Trackhawk is much more appealing. This one, just this big hump back here, it looks a little minivan-y. I like the design of the rear end of the Trackhawk better. The front end, I prefer the Durango. I think the Durango's front end is cool. But yeah, I'm gonna say I prefer, in general, the Trackhawk's design to this one.
Hi, how are you, from Rena?
Hi, Rena. Well, let's do interior now.
Go inside.
We've shown the exterior extensively. If you're just joining us, watch earlier in the video. We show the exterior extensively and talk about it.
Would you buy a Model X or this car? I am looking at both of these.
I would not even consider the Model X. I'll tell you why.
From Luke.
The Model X is Luke. It's a fair question. The performance of the two is, they're different, certainly. To be continued inside. The performance is different. You're getting a completely different experience. The Model X, silence, shocking acceleration. This one, there's nothing surprising about what it's doing because you're hearing every bit of it when you put your foot down. But the Model X's cabin is, this has cheapness in it, certainly. Why the camera is going nuts. This has cheapness in it that you can find, certainly. Actually, anything below the belt line is going to be hard plastic and cheap. But the fit and finish is vastly better than what I found in the Model X. The Model X, the build quality issues were rampant, and I was in a vehicle that was not a press vehicle. This was just a car that I got to do an overnight loan. And the wind noise in that car is terrible. $100,000+ SUV, and it sounded like I was in a wind tunnel at highway speeds. Then there were just the misaligned panels on the exterior, misaligned things inside. It just felt like it was hobbled together. This one feels like a mass production vehicle. Like they had quality control and they just went through and made sure things aligned. There's definitely cheapness, but it's just, I don't know. And I love the sound of a V8. So it would be this for sure.
So everyone has a Model X. No one really has.
At least around us.
Oh.
Yes, around us in Orange County, we see Model X's every day. This is going to be a much more rare sight. And for those with a keen eye who spot the Hellcat badge, they'll be like, "Oh wow, that's the 710 horsepower one." Yeah, but I wouldn't consider the Model X personally. That's my thought.
All right, imagine making this into a police SUV. That's interesting from Liam.
Imagine being chased by this. I'm not planning to have to put that to the test, but imagine being chased by this. There's not much that's going to outrun you.
Okay, we already kind of talked about this from Cool. How does it drive compared to the Trackhawk?
Yeah, so I mean, compared to but we didn't really talk about driving differences. It's honestly, it's like the same thing. This has slightly more weight, but the things that they've done with the adaptive suspension are mind-boggling. How they manage this size, this weight. They drive very similarly between the two of them, and you can't feel the extra 3 horsepower in this compared to the Trackhawk. Yeah, so the interior, let's just talk about things that they upgrade in the interior.
Just honk the horn real quick.
Oh, okay. People want to hear the horn honk. I'll do it again. That's the sound of the horn, guys. Good question. Yes, the interior. Yeah, they just this one with a premium group gets Alcantara trim in places. It gets this forged carbon fiber material, which is really cool. It looks like marbly. And it also has Alcantara for the headliner up here. Bummer that you don't get a sunroof as standard. You have to pay $1,200 for that, and it's only like one of these sunroofs. I'm not going to give too much away because I talk about all of this in my review, guys. So consider it all a tease for the review that's coming in a week. You want to watch that.
All right.
But you also have a new 10-inch, it's Uconnect 5 now. We're on Uconnect 5, and this is much, much better. I have found certain delays, certain bugs in it, but for the most part, it's really responsive. He said as it took a second for that to load up. But the graphics are great. Wow, it's really not, you're not making my case right now. Oh, it's taking a second. All right, but the graphics are really sharp, and it does behave pretty well. You also have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both awesome things. This is a fun little detail. Go to the comfort and look at all these individual passengers. They all have racing helmets on. I love that. That, and I mean, this is another small thing. The Dodge logo is the slider for your temperature control. Details, man. Details are cool. Love that. All right, and
how much trunk space does it have?
Oh gosh, off the top of my head, I know full cargo is 85 cubic feet. If you fold down the second and third row seats, here, I'll hop into the second row. I can even show you the third row. So third row, the way you get access, you pull on this lever on the side once, and then again, and you do have to manually lift it. Come on. Okay, there we go. You have to go all the way up with a slider. I didn't do that. And then you've got a pretty wide opening to the third row, so you can climb on back here easily. I like that these are individually like bucketed, bolstered seats. It makes it feel a little more special. My head is on the roof. If I lean back, if I lean forward, it's fine. 6 feet tall. And armrests in the second row are super nice. They are leather. You have got this Alcantara insert for the centers of the seats. In this third row, you don't have any charging ports or anything like that. That's a bummer. And the materials are kind of cheap apart from the Alcantara headliner. You do have air vents, and you do have these speakers that jut out at your head, which is cool. Yeah, so you got third row seating space, and I'll show you with this down. And, I've got knee room back here, and you can stick your right foot or this passenger's left foot towards the center, kind of stretch out a little bit, and the foot pockets are good size. So you actually have space in the third row seats, which is very good. And then you pull this lever to release yourself from the third row, and getting out's pretty pretty easy as well.
All right, when will this come to U.S. markets for sale from Arjun?
It should be at dealerships like nowish, or at least, I mean, you could have placed your orders as of like 2 months ago. Should be at dealerships now. They'll be making deliveries in the first quarter of 2021.
All right, from Kearney, how long do you usually have these cars?
A week. If you want to learn more, my 100,000 subscriber special, which, how long ago was that? 2 months? Just search on my channel for 100,000. And that subscriber special goes into how I get these vehicles, how long I have the vehicles, how I book the vehicles with the fleet companies, what is a fleet company, and all that in the $100,000 subscriber special. Man, I wish it was $100,000. No, it's 100,000 subscribers. All right, without further ado, let's go drive this.
All right, hey to Justine. Okay, how's the interior materials? You kind of talked about it all.
Yeah, I kind of touched on it. This is the best interior I've seen from a Dodge vehicle yet. You have fake leather up here, but it's really nice with the contrast stitching. There is fake leather on the upper part of the door panels that is just soft and feels good. The forged carbon fiber looks awesome. The Alcantara with a contrast stitch looks good. You've got Alcantara on the center console here, more forged carbon on the inside there. Leather, real leather on the center console, nice place to rest your arm. Perforated leather at 9 and 3 on the steering wheel, flat bottom. This is cheap plastic. This is cheap plastic. This down here below the belt line is cheap plastic. But everything you're touching really is pretty high quality, except for the paddles. These paddles feel really cheap, and they're half paddles. They're not full paddles. So you just have these, 2.5 inches up above the center mark on the steering wheel. All right, let's go drive.
All right, how's your day, Miles, from Rashad?
Oh, day is great. Thank you, Rashad. Rashad, so consistent with the comments on the YouTube videos. Really appreciate it. Love that you chime in always to say you love the videos. I super duper appreciate it, Rashad. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna start out.
We already talked about horsepower.
We did. I didn't show you performance pages and stuff like that. Watch the walkaround that's already live for this video, the POV drive for all that. But I'm gonna go to SRT and see. We're gonna start in auto mode. We'll start out. No, we're gonna start out sport. We're going to sport. You've also got a custom mode and a track mode.
Would you drive this car as a daily driver from Rashad?
It would be a great daily driver. I think it would be a really.
If you can afford the gas.
If you, yeah, yes, it would be a great day.
Oh, it'd be great. Bye.
Just got really Irish there. It would be a great daily driver. To Christina's point, if you had a lot of extra money for gas, this thing guzzles gasoline like I've never seen on any other vehicle. I've even driven the other Hellcats and stuff. They were more gracious about the fuel economy than this, which makes sense. It's a less aerodynamic, heavier vehicle.
Okay, from Dude, how much spaghetti can you fit in there?
I don't know. That's probably a trend that I'm not aware of right now.
No, I think just, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Foot down, right down. How good does that sound? And flip it down with the paddles. You can go over to manual mode here. Down with the paddles. Oh, you hear that supercharger? Oh. Oh, yes. That is a lovely cacophony of sound from that mixture of the supercharger whine and then the HEMI V8 that just takes over. Also, the supercharger whine is cool because it can come in at, low RPM. You just got to dip into the throttle the right amount and you can bring it on song. It's cool. It is very cool. And I hope I have an opportunity to show you guys launch mode, launch control, because that's extra excitement. But yeah, mid-range power in this is crazy. You put your foot far enough down and you just blitz forward. Other questions,
from
Christina?
Prathamesh, is it capable of doing donuts?
Prathamesh, no, it is not. At least I don't think so. I haven't tried it, but I don't think so because it's a permanent four-wheel drive vehicle. You can distribute the power between the axles in a way if you go into custom mode. custom setup. You can choose how you want the all-wheel drive system to behave. And in sport mode, it's more rear drive bias. I have not attempted to do donuts. I do not expect it would readily do donuts because the front wheels are still going to, it never fully switches to a rear wheel drive setup like you can in like the M competition cars or the AMG vehicles. It's always got those front wheels trying to give you juice, give you power.
All right. Nice work, buddy. Love from India.
Awesome.
From Madhav.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Madhav. I really appreciate it.
Are you going to do a review on the 392 Wrangler from Tristan?
Ooh, good question. If I have time, I would love to grab that vehicle and do a review on that one. Yeah. I think it makes sense.
I'm a big fan from that car guy.
Oh, hey, car guy. That car guy. I think I've seen you comment on videos before.
What? Oh, I was the one paid. Hold on.
Oh.
Oh boy. Super chat. It's probably Prathamesh. Gotta find your comment, Prathamesh.
Really appreciate the super chats.
Oh no, it's from Luis F. Diaz.
Luis F. Diaz, thank you so much for super chatting. I really appreciate it.
How stiff is the suspension on the street mode?
It's really not that bad. It's actually pretty great ride quality. I was hurrying to get up here because I want to do launch mode.
Oh.
So, to get up here, you can access launch mode from within the race options. Go to race options, or you simply just press this button right here. You can set what you want the RPM to be at when you launch. It'll hold it at that RPM. Let's do, 2300. Actually, the best launch at 2200 RPM. And then you can just hit activate launch control. Or again, you just hit this button right here and it'll do that for you. I will hit the big green button because that's fun. The moment I get the opportunity. And this is going to blow you away. He said optimistically. Okay. Activate launch mode. Apply full throttle. Let go. Good Lord. Oh, I forgot it was manual mode. My bad, guys. Whoa, that one. Okay. That was terrible. That launch mode. I forgot I had left it in manual mode, guys. That's my B. My bad. I actually thought launch control was going to override the manual mode, but it didn't, so that's my fault. The first gear was pretty exciting, right? Yes, my fault. Okay, back to drive modes.
We already talked about what this competes with from Harsh, but do you want to quickly say what it competes with again?
Yeah, so I mean, there's nothing else in this segment, this price point, that has this kind of performance, but if you want to raise it above $100,000, then you bring in the Alpine XB7, you bring in the Mercedes-AMG GLS 63. I'm gonna flip it around, and what else? Yeah, those are the only other three-row SUVs that have this kind of performance.
Do you think going forward the quietness can be a safety issue as pedestrians may not be able to hear them coming from Prathamesh?
Yeah, fair question, Prathamesh. I mean, that is never an issue for this vehicle, for sure. I think it's interesting, I recently didn't drive, the Porsche Taycan, and the way they do it is you can hear that vehicle from so far away because they amplify the noise of the electric powertrain. And I think that's a cool way to do it. It was also really fun hearing the electric powertrain make noises as you were going ridiculously quickly off the line. That thing is so fast. So I think that's an interesting way of doing it, and I think automakers can take points from Porsche in that regard, because the pure silence could be a safety concern. It's also just not exciting. You have the G-forces and that's fun, but it just, after that subsides and that thrill goes away, you're not left with much. So if you can have the noise as well, and it just to be a cool futuristic electric noise, I like that.
This or Suburban Z71?
So the Chevy Suburban Z71, not really a competitor for this in any way, except for the size, but I guess if you're just gonna do regular Durango against this, sure. But no, in terms of performance SUVs, that's not a competitor. And I was really hoping I could get another light to do another launch mode properly this time. Oh, it's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Oh well. Alright, maybe next light.
Alright. I think we're wrapping it up here, but it's good to hear, Miles. I have to say that you are one of my top best YouTuber car reviewers that I have watched from Rashad's TV.
Thank you, Rashad. I really appreciate it.
Alright.
If you don't have any other questions,
But there's just a lot of people chatting. Okay.
makes it hard. We only speak English.
I think they're just chatting together.
Oh, Christina speaks Spanish. I wanted another light. Give you guys another launch. Another launch, please. Another launch, another light.
Oh my, yeah, I love it. Who's the lovely lady behind the camera? It's me, his wife.
Christina.
All right. Oh, another one from Prathmesh. What did you ask though, Prathmesh? Nothing? Oh, fist bumps. All right, is there any ambient lighting?
There's not ambient lighting per se. There is lighting. There's illumination at night, but not ambient lighting.
All right, and then X5M comp versus Durango SRT Hellcat from Dean.
What did they ask again? Sorry, I was not listening. Which comp? X5M comp?
Yeah.
Well, that's a tourer SUV, so that would really compete with the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. Ooh, I am going to get another opportunity to do launch here.
Oh boy. Well, we lose them on this
Oh, yeah, that's
stretch.
true.
So, well, if we lose you, thanks for joining. We're
There's
gonna
also a
do
bump here, but I mean, I'm going to try it anyway.
Well, it's already green.
Okay, well, here we go.
Oh shoot!
Here we go. It's a short launch. Short launch, guys. And to immediate left turn because up there, we lose connection for whatever reason.
All right. Again, with the price, we already talked about the price, but one more time.
One more time, $82,000 to start. This one as tested is $86,000.
All right.
Not a
and
whole
then,
lot more.
Does the SRT Durango have any kind of cylinder deactivation to save gas?
It does not. Yeah, that would be a wonderful addition to this vehicle to just get a little bit better fuel economy. This does okay on the highway. If you can absolutely cruise, it does okay on the highway with 17 combined, but every other dimension to its fuel economy is terrible.
All right. And
All right,
then
guys.
Last one is, how do you like the engine from Benzo the Cat?
I love this engine. I love it so much. I'm glad it exists. I will be sad the day the HEMI dies, but we will be thankful that we lived in the time we did and got a chance to experience it because it's a wonderful engine, benefiting from that supercharger, absolutely. Although, without the supercharger, it's a great engine. You just don't get that supercharger whine. Don't get that wee, wee. That's what it sounds like. That's my interpretation. All right? All right, guys, one more blast of acceleration, and we're going to be off. That's that. Thank you guys so much for joining this live Q&A. I'll be back at you next week. Till then, have a great weekend. And happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. If you celebrated Hanukkah, if you celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, anything I missed, guys, happy holidays. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great weekend.